Everyone's winning here.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we are live. Check, guys, for us. If we are live, it's all good. That's when you do live. We always gotta make sure we check and we're good to go. We fix the mic for us just a little bit. Fix yourself how you feel comfortable on the seat, man. We're good. Okay. Oh yeah, I can hear myself. And we're about to get ready here in a few minutes. So happy Saturday. What's up, everybody? Ooh, I'm excited to be here at Buy Realty. Two of Buy Realty and Blue Barrel Tequila. They're both the sponsors for H Town Unplugged. And today I lost like if this is the sixth episode or seventh episode, it's all good. The good thing is that this is based in H Town. That's why it's called H Town Unplugged. We're here to give you the raw, the real, in real time. So you can see that there's no fakeness, that it comes from the heart, that it's just pure because people want to know the authentic you. I don't want to go around and be like, you meet me at the freaking network event and you're like, I saw you on the TikTok, but now here you're different. And like what you see me on TV, what you see me on my social media is who you're going to see me out there. The real Jesus Ortiz. And I ain't changing that. I got my values and I'm just excited to have Miss Carmen Maria Montiel today here at H-Town Unplugged. I don't do a lot about politics, but I read a lot of their stuff, your website and what you're all about. And I was like, this is the values that I have. This is the values that I'm actually implementing to my daughter. I have a 13-year-old. So I'm like faith, freedom, your
Faith,
voice, your
family,
faith, family, and freedom.
and
All that.
freedom.
I was like, that's what we need.
That's all we need, and we need to get it back. And thank you, first of all. Thank
No,
you,
thank you.
Jesus and Aaron, for having me with you. I'm ready to have a blast and share our values with the people because I think it's very important. For so long, it was like, do not talk about ideology, do not mix, religions with politics. And by doing that, they have gotten away with so much. So I think, yes, we need to talk about ideology so people understand what it is, each one of them. And we need to get God back into our lives, into our children's life. And this country, free, separation of church and government doesn't mean that we're completely divorced and is a taboo to talk about it because this country was founded in the name of God and is what it is because God is protecting us.
In God we trust.
And in God we trust. And that's, I always see, when Congress it says in God we trust, and our bill says in God we trust. And with the fight, of the left, I've been in fear that one day they're going to delete that. And I said, that will be the worst day for this nation because it'll mean they're finally able to cover. And that's what I'm doing, because we need to fight that as, with our teeth for the
Hmm.
future of our children and
Oh
our
yes.
grandchildren.
And you're a fighter. I was reading on your website,
Yeah.
and a real estate brokerage. You're a mogul and all these different things that you have done. So before we get all into all this, just explain to the audience just a bit of who was Carmen Montiel. Where did you grew up? How did you came up?
Oh, well, I
Yes.
was born and raised in Venezuela. And so I'm from the Caribbean. And people always look at me when I say I'm from the Caribbean. They go, yeah, I'm from the Caribbean. I'm Latina.
Hey.
And I came to the United States when I was 20 years old. But, the important thing about Latinos is Latinos, we are conservative at heart. For us,
Hmm.
Latino, our faith is the most important thing we have. And our families are untouchable. And our families, and that's why they make fun of us because our families are never small.
That's true.
It doesn't matter what it is. Our families are never small. And that's one of the biggest thing about losing the country I was born, to the point I cannot go back, is our families are spread around the world, and those gatherings are not what they used to be, and they're very hard to come by.
Mm.
So I was raised in Catholic schools, very very solid unified family. And when I was 23 years old, I came to United States as a student. And while I was here, the situation in Venezuela started to go south. Now, I want to make sure that people understand that it didn't happen at that point, that the process to get there took years before. And people needs to understand that communism take 60 plus years.
Mm.
And that was just the breaking point. And I said, well, let me stay in United States. Let's wait a few years. Let's see if things get better. And then I get back. And no, it got worse and worse and worse. And then my children were born here. I raised them here. They are adults. My girls both graduated this year, one from Master in Fine Arts, the second one law school, and just passed the bar. And my
Mm.
son is third year of chemical engineering. And I'm a single mom now, and I did that all by myself.
Mm.
And I'm very proud, and I'm very proud of my children. That's my biggest achievement. I'm a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
I studied broadcasting, and I had a morning talk show in Venezuela. And when I came here, I worked for Telemundo. It started as a
Mm.
reporter. And then I was the anchor woman. I got the anchor share within 5 months. And then I went on to develop a family medical practice. I worked there for 20 years. And during that time, I started investing in real estate. So the natural thing was to, finally get my license. And that's what I do. And I do mostly commercial. And that's what I do. I believe, in small business owners. And I believe that we need to preserve and take care of the middle class. And I believe and that's who I am. And that's what I'm doing this. And when people ask me, why are you doing this? I'm not a politician. I'm just a regular person that is
Yes.
worried because I see what's happening. And with a lot of fear, I see that this horror movie that happened in Venezuela is repeating here.
Yes. Just before coming here, my mom saw that I was having you, and she was like, just to let her know that even if she wins or not, she still got to make things happen here. Because
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
would say, she was saying she doesn't really do a lot of politics, but she was like, I see a lot of politics that they're trying to do right or left or whoever they are, right? But when they're getting to position, they're like, some of them just give up. I'm like, no, if your values and if with either winning or not, you still got to keep on doing it on your own and making sure that that makes happen, that you make it happen.
Well, especially when you had that call, I don't think you can stop. It's like last
Mm,
time I ran in 2022 because this is
I
my
saw that.
third run.
Yes.
I swear to God, like I'm not doing this anymore because for it. Actually, I started this rum still licking my wounds from the last time, but I could never. I'm still worried about what's happening, and I was always, so close about politics, and I. Again, I worked hard for President Donald Trump to get reelected in 2024. And I cried like a baby when finally we got it because I know what we were facing. And if we lose this country, we lose the world. And and I said, well, I'm not going to run again. But then Sylvester Turner passed in the
Yeah.
seat I previously run. And I went to church because it was Ash Wednesday. And I sat there and prayed and cried and said, are you sending me a message, God? Are you telling me that it is time for a change? Because two Democrats that took had that chair in Chile had that chair for
Yep.
30 years, one one after the other with in less than a year. I was like, I think it's time for a change. And Daniel 2:21 says, season changes, things changes,
Yep.
and only God changes the kings. And nowadays it's governments.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think it's like what we're talking about, we were talking about there's no middle class anymore. It's been just
No, it's
the
under
rich
attack
and the
in
poor.
the
So we
poor.
want to make that happen again where people believe again. Because right now, with everything that is going on in the world, everybody's just like, even myself, I see like people, I don't believe in God anymore. I stopped because he's not, this, the left, the right. Like, who do I believe? Opinions and facts. It's just like, is there, the narratives are just left and right. Charlie Kirk, rest in peace. All this stuff that is happening is like just confusing and dividing people.
Well, but people, what happened is for a long time, there was this thing like, let's not talk about ideology. It was taboo. And what happened is we needed to talk about ideology. We needed to explain what the right means and what the left means. And we need to tell that the right is conservatism, is capitalism, is freedom, is small government, is, and the government should work for the people, not the people working for the
You
government.
know.
And then explain that socialism and communism, the left is destruction, is hunger, It have killed millions of people. It's about big government. It's about control. It's about losing our freedom. And and when we stopped talking about it, it became like, well, socialism and communism, which for me is the same. I always say socialism is the entry door for communism. And it's, it was like it doesn't exist. Because if you don't talk about it, it doesn't exist, but it does exist. And we need to go back and talk about and teach civics in the schools for our children,
Yes.
and teach ideology, and explain people the truth, and say, and explain people what happened in Cuba, what happened in China,
Mhm.
what happened in Venezuela. And how people, goes for having, like, Cuba wasn't the island that was oh, fantastic, and everybody travel, and people have a great living, and there was like all the classes, the rich, the middle class, the poor. And then communism took over and explained me how going for all different socialist tracks, then the whole island is poor and they're starving.
Mhm.
Same thing in Venezuela. In Venezuela, when the last dictator, that was actually a right-wing dictator, military man, Pérez Jiménez, when he left in 1958, over 60% of the population were middle class.
Mm.
Over 60%, and the rest was equally divided among rich and poor. This is when he left. Then, during those 40 years of what they call a bipartisan democracy, which both parties were socialists, nobody ever talks about that, the middle class started to shrink. And now, today, 94% of the population in Venezuela are poor. Now, explain me, how does the best ideology? And about 10 million people fled the country looking for better opportunities, risking their lives, and many die in the process.
Yeah.
So I saw how this country started to go in that path years ago.
No, I saw that.
And for me, it was like, wow, and they start like little by little. It's like, when you throw the frog in the water and start boiling it. And it wasn't until I had the experience of my divorce and going through the judicial system that was the worst slap in my face, to see the corruption in the court system. And I said, okay, no, now I need to do something, because the worst for me was, I know what's happening, and I have two options: do something, or just sit around, and I will hate myself for not doing something, and know what was coming. Like, when I came here to study, I was supposed to go back to Venezuela to incredible opportunities of work, because I already was working in television, and now going back, graduating here, speaking English, it was like the future was mine for me to choose what I wanted to do. And then I was like, if I don't do anything, I'm jeopardizing my children's future in this country. And if we lose United States, what is it for the world?
Civil war. That's what I see right now, where everything happening is just like that burning frog, and it's just coming to the point that a lot of people are just like, no, enough is enough. And but that's what, in my view, is like, it's the narratives, that's what they want. They're pushing that division. So we hate each other, not them. They're laughing on the back,
Oh,
applauding. Oh, it's happening.
and it's the rhetoric, and it's the same thing in Venezuela. Venezuela, here they use racism.
Mhm.
Venezuela, there was no racism, because in Venezuela, the Latin countries, people started to mix right away. The Latin countries, so it was not about races; it was about class.
Mm.
And Hugo Chavez was who won the first social communist dictatorship, and he won. He was like, "Oh, the socialism of the 21st century," like it was repackaged, and now was new and different, and it was the same thing. And he started something that in Venezuela people never experienced, was racism. He
Mm.
started, telling people, "I'm going to take for the rich and give to you," and the rich people he started calling escuálidos,
Mm.
like pale people. And then he started to create this racism that never existed in Venezuela. And then that produced division not only among the country, but among the families.
Mm.
Suddenly you have within the family people that were pro him and against him. And it became this thing that where people couldn't like sit down and talk and say, well, let's agree to disagree. It was like, it's my way, because that's what the left is. It's my way or no way.
No way.
And it just happened to me this morning. This morning I went to a speed dating style debate in Pleasantville. And you always get a little bit of every table, people that agree with you, people don't agree with you, I know. And at the end, the candidates were to give 2 minutes. And what happened is the candidates that were in front of me were, saying all these lies like, oh, they are cutting from Medicare from us, and they're cutting from Medicaid from us, and they're cutting from Social Security, and Donald Trump is stealing, like he's gonna put it in his pockets, and people don't understand. So when I took the mic, I said, they're not cutting anything from us Americans. We need people, you need to understand that in the last 4 years, welfare rose 45%. What does that tell you? It rose in the last 4 years because they're giving all these benefits to the illegal immigrants. And when I talk about immigration, I say there is 2 topics in immigration because I am a legal immigrant. So there is legal immigration and illegal immigration. So I am pro-legal immigration, but against illegal immigration. And as when I came here, nobody gave me anything, or I was expecting anything. So I say we need to cut those from those people because we are selling the future of our children. Yep. And the illegal immigrants should not have this benefit. And suddenly this woman just grabbed the phone from my hand. And I said, well, my 2 minutes are not up. And she said, you're saying racial slurs. And I was like, and I look at her and I said, well, explain me what? What did I say? What happened is they're not used to nobody will come. And she started trembling her lips like, and I said, explain me, what did I say? What was racial? And she said, well, just saying, agitated language. And I said, explain me again. What is it that it was, And then she said, well, I'm just going to give you 30 seconds. So I took the mic and I said, oh, now I remember what I said. I said illegal immigrants. And I say, yes, and I will say it again because I am a legal immigrant. And I'm here to protect your benefits. The American people benefit from the people that are not supposed to get it. And then I finished and I left. But see, this is, if you start telling the truth and telling what they're hiding from the people, because the people have been so much lying. They have pamphlets with their lies. And they are giving those pamphlets to the people. So these people have been under so much lie that they just go about it and vote based on the lies. And it's not the first time. Last time when I ran against Sheila and I was at the polling place, I said, yeah, she's the lady that wants to take away Medicare from us. And I was like, and this woman, one of them was holding, I'm sorry.
You're good.
And I said, I didn't say that. And they have pamphlets printed what he says. Carmen Montiel is going to take Medicare from you. Is going to take social. And it's amazing. And I feel terrible for the people because they have no truth. They put it in so much fear because they people then I'm in fear. They even, one of them told me, Donald Trump is stealing our 401k programs. And I was like, that'll be stealing because that's private. Your 401k is yours. It's not Social Security that the government, give you the checks. That's yours. So how he's going to take? Yes, he's taking. And they are convinced that they're doing that to them.
That's sad.
It is very sad because one of the reasons why I do this is because my experience in life. Like Hugo Chavez used to say, and he said it openly, he said, the poor people, we need to keep them poor, but with hope. Because as long as they're poor and have hope, they keep on voting for us. If their lives improve, they're not going to vote for us anymore. And that's exactly what the Democrats are doing to the people here. They're not, we're talking about the middle class and entrepreneurs and the small business people. They don't want us.
No, they don't want that.
They don't want that. They want these people to keep them living from the welfare check and being in fear that is going to be taken away from them.
Yeah. It's just corporate companies and
The big guys.
the big guys, and they're like buying out everybody. I mean, I see that how technology and everything is moving. It's like they want you to be just inside. Like, I don't want to go out no more. See, I can buy anything from home now. I don't have to step out.
Well, to start with is helping, like you say, the big guys, and then it's so unhealthy because if we sit at home and do nothing, I really like to go to the grocery
I know.
store and see my products and touch them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also give me an activity
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise, where it's so unhealthy. And that grew up a lot, especially during COVID. That was, I believe, that was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
It was to kill the mom and pop business and just let these big guys go. And look
They're
how
getting even bigger.
they got bigger. Their fortune like triplicated during that time, and it's so unfair for we the people.
Yeah, because the money just comes back. We, the people, buy, and then they get richer and richer.
And we get poorer and poorer.
And when we get more and more, that's why we're second. Not there's no middle class. The thing that I'm hating the most right now is schools, because I have a daughter. You have kids.
I have
I'm seeing
kids.
too much about the kids, like trans kids, and then I'm like, this is like these kids are so young, like they still haven't even developed, and they're throwing so much, and it's okay to have like a gay person. I mean, I don't have nothing wrong with it, but you cannot be doing that to the kids.
No, well, listen, and the study shows that the frontal cortex of people doesn't develop until they're 25 years old. Okay. And there is something that I grew up and still when my children were in school, I'm so glad that my kids are out of school. They're, graduated from college and my son is third year in college because I wouldn't know, I would be so furious. I would have taken my kids out and homeschool because there is something that is so important to preserve that is the innocence of the children. And we need to fight and protect that. Kids are not ready to be exposed to sex, to be exposed, and it's nothing against to somebody being gay or not. Kids are not ready to be exposed to that or transgender because as soon as you start talking about that, you're talking about sex. I don't care how you want to put it, but that's introducing kids to talk about sex, and that's not right. And this trans movement, what it has done is really affected the LGBT community
Yeah.
because now it went from people were tolerating and accepting things to people being mad at them. And I have many gay friends,
No, me too.
that are not, they're normal.
I know.
They just happen to, and even they said, it's been terrible for us. They said, because now people are mad at us. And many gay friends that are completely against all this trans and agenda and showing and teaching kids about sex, and that's the majority of my gay friends are in that page that they are completely against this. And we send kids to school to learn math, geometry, history, how to read, prepare them to face the world and to become a productive adult.
Yep.
But not to be, that's all for the parents. And I still think that any parents that decide to talk to any child about sex on too early in life, I consider that abusive. I'm sorry.
Mm.
We're to protect the children, our children, and to form them.
Yeah.
That's the biggest responsibility that we have as parents.
Yeah, and I see that when you say about the homeschool, I have a lot of friends and people that I met, they took their kids out of school because they're seeing this like it's not working. I don't want my kids seeing this. I prefer just teaching them myself, hire a tutor myself, and even if I have to work a little bit more, but this is just not right.
And the thing is, because I have two daughters and one son and professional girls, it's like they have sacrificed and worked so hard to have their careers. And then they say, well, the day they become mothers, it's gonna be a hard choice for them.
Ooh, yes.
Okay. And if they're gonna stop their careers or they're gonna just, because now, and so what's happening is the new generation, they don't want to have kids.
They don't. Trust
They don't
me.
want to have kids.
They
So
don't.
what's happening with this world? and that's why they don't want to have pets, they don't want to have kids, and I understand them, because I have two professional. One is a fantastic artist, very creative, the other is a lawyer, and they're girls, and they would like to be. I was lucky enough, even though because of the immigration process, my journalistic career, that's how it went away. But because I was working in the clinic, I was able to be the mother I wanted to be. I
Mm.
was able to make my own schedule and to be a present mother. And then after divorce, I put all myself into it because I needed to pull my children out of the whole situation. And so my girls see this and said, like, after all they have sacrificed, what's going to be? And they want to be the mother they're used to, which is the mother I was.
Well, they were.
So and when they have to decide, well, I'm not going to be able to do that, then rather not have kids, and that's
Mm.
not fair. So
No.
what's going to happen? While the people that are in the left, they're reproducing themselves. This is quite scary. So
That's true. And I'm seeing that too, like the dating world too. Date girls and men, 25-year-olds or even the 30s. Like I said, I just turned 40. It's like they don't want to date no more. They just want to have their pet or their cat. And I'm like, that's just like, what's up? That's why, not that I gave up on dating, but I saw it myself because I went to date and stuff. And it's like, ah, I can do it myself. Like as a woman or as a man, I can do anything myself. I don't need her. I don't need him. And I'm like, no, you want to create a family. You want to have a bondage where you want to grow and have something. Yeah, there's nothing wrong if people want to stay, but not to where we at right now. That there's like, damn. And then you were saying, what about the next generation?
well, but about the next generation, that's what I'm worried. And and I see it, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because we need to get back to bases, and we need to protect our children and make sure that our children are taught what they're supposed to learn. So this generation can be all they want to be. They can be the professional, and they
Mm-hmm.
can be the parents, and actually they are the ones that should be having kids. But I see the frustration,
Yeah.
and it breaks my heart, because, oh, come on, I want to be a grandmother one day. So,
And let's go this route. I know you work for Telemundo.
yes.
So how was that for you working there? How many years did you start it? What led you go to that journalism? Like, hey, I need to work here.
Well, I started working in television in Venezuela early on,
Mm-hmm.
and 19 years old, because I was, by an accident in life, I became Miss Venezuela.
Yes.
And I didn't want it. Was nothing that I was like planning my life. I met the president of the Miss Venezuela, and he called me for 3 years. And finally, after 3 years, I said, started steering my curiosity. And then I went once, and I won, and won Miss South America also, and second in Miss Universe. And I started working in television right away. The reality is, I'm a frustrated lawyer. I wanted always to go to law school. But
Mm.
by the time I have to go to college, Venezuela was so corrupt, and it was already a known issue that the cases in Venezuela were won, but who pay more. And when I went to art school first, I studied art. And I remember my dad being frustrated with, so what happened with law school? And I said, Dad, I cannot lose a case because somebody paid more. For me, that was so important,
Mm.
you know. And I went to art school, and then as soon as I started working in television, I had a morning talk show called Buenos Dias Venezuela, Good Morning Venezuela. And then it was repackaged in a few years to Complicidades, who was the first ever in the world format with only women back in the 80s. Only women. We were three women.
Complicidades, right?
Complicidades,
Isn't
yes.
that something that it's still right now?
No, it
No,
disappeared.
it
No.
disappeared. Okay, because I thought I saw somebody.
Oh, Adriana la cómplice used that. I always
There he
tease her
goes.
because we used to call each other the cómplices. So when Adriana la cómplice said, my show back in the day was Complicidades, and we
Yeah.
call each other las cómplices. So, and then when I came here to study and I came to Houston, so I applied to Univision and Telemundo, to
Mhm.
both. And Telemundo was the one who gave me the position, first as a reporter. And within 5 months, I told you I earned the anchor chair. and I was the anchor woman for Telemundo. But this was back in the 90s. They were
Nice.
not, they were not what they have become. Media have become
Yeah.
so lefty and selling this propaganda and pushing for this
All of them.
propaganda and silencing the people. It was not like that back then.
Yeah. Too much fear now
Yes.
from both. It's like fear,
But
fear,
have
fear,
you
fear.
ever gotten into their websites and read what the people write to them? Like, you liars, stop lying to the people. I think that's when I have nothing to do, that's my favorite thing. That's my hobby, see what they're writing in their websites.
Did you like working on it while you were there in Telemundo? Like,
I love television and I love to give the news. And my morning show was news and interviews, and it was always live. And I
yeah,
love the idea of live television.
yeah,
It's
life is
it's
just fun.
it's fun. And you don't have time to say cut. Let's do it again.
No, no,
It is
that's
what it is.
pre-recording.
Yes, and I miss those days. I think it was, but the real thing. I wouldn't be able to work under the conditions today that, okay, I'm only going to give one side, I'm not going to present the other side, so I'm not going to be able to show you the truth.
Yeah,
And that, or sell my soul and sit there and lie. And no, I cannot do that.
no,
So that's why why the proliferation of shows like this have grown, because you can say
yeah.
whatever you want. But remember, during COVID, they shut down my YouTube channel.
They shot a lot. They shot a couple of my friends.
Yeah,
Jeffrey
they shut,
channels.
and then they threatened me to close my Instagram account. So, and I, because during that time I was doing
Yeah,
a podcast, and so they shut down the YouTube channel, and I kept doing it in Instagram, and they sent me an email.
I
And
remember when that was back before COVID. I got my Facebook shut down for 6 months.
yeah, I never went to Facebook jail because I didn't do much in Facebook. I
But I
was
was
mostly
not. But like
YouTube
you said,
and
I wasn't
Instagram.
doing nothing bad but the views of what I
The
was
views.
talking about.
Yeah.
And at that time, before COVID, I mean, it was still getting into there. But it was my opinion. I would say what needed to be
Yeah, but
done.
they didn't. And for the longest time, what they did to me is when I did the live shows. Usually when you finish the live, Instagram recommends, put different shows,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like recommendations. Well, if you watch this, you might like to watch this other show.
Yeah.
So it started normal, and then my followers, I have a big followers, but then they started not to telling people that I was going live. They started, like shadow biting me.
Mm.
But then when I finished, suddenly my followers started me screenshots. I said, Carmen, now they were recommending pornography. That's a way to try. They were like, as soon as my show finished, this is what's popping up to
Mm.
my followers. But then people couldn't find me. And then when finally people found me, they were like, are you sure you want to follow this person? She's a liar. And people could not tag me for the longest time. I should have a bigger followers, but they really did me wrong.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I say. I say, now we have this type of shows, but we need to be careful
No,
in
we
order
still
to
because
survive.
there's still would even if you're
Yeah.
going live or anything, they will still cut you out.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes, like as business owner, we'll get it now as being a business owner. You still have the real estate broker.
Yeah, mom, I still have listings.
Okay,
All of that.
that is good.
Commercial.
Like
Yeah.
like that's what I say to people. Like yes, we have social media, but data and numbers don't lie. So when you start doing more of the things, create your own data where you send them to a CRM. You got their names, emails. So if anything happens with Facebook or anything shuts down or anything, you have your own data.
You cannot depend
You
on
cannot
any of them.
depend on none of them.
No, because let me tell you, what happened with YouTube is they sent me an email. It said, you committed this infraction, just talking about, COVID.
Yeah.
And so I went on and tell my people, well, I cannot say that. You know what, I'm again. So we're gonna call it this way. And they sent me a second email, even though, and it said the third infraction, we shut you down. So I stopped. I changed the name. So what they did, this was like June. So what they did is they went all the way back to February, March, and found one. And with that, and what happened is when they shut you down, you don't even have time
No.
to save your videos or anything.
No,
they just like,
that's it.
boom, you're dead.
Yeah. That's why every time I do my videos and stuff like this, like right now, it finishes and it just downloads directly to my computer. So I
Yes.
have the whole, even though it's live, and it's already gonna be done and posted on YouTube. But I have it in my computer, just in case you know something happens. I got the
You
videos,
have to.
and then I can send it to my like the last week, last Saturday. He asked me, my friend, he's a business partner of mine. He's, hey, can you send me the whole interview because a lot of people liked it and I want to cut some reels from there myself and keep on
Yeah.
promoting it. I was like, yeah, bro, that's not a problem. You
You have
good?
to. We cannot depend on them.
Yeah.
And we cannot depend on the cloud. And we cannot really, technology is great when it works, but
And it's
we're under
growing so
attack.
fast.
Yeah.
Chat GPT, AI, Sora too. I mean, we can talk about all that stuff. It's just like it's changing the narrative of how you can make money now, like other ourselves. Like we can do commercial videos for small business owners and using Sora, and I just need a picture or a video of you connected there, so like a transcript, boop, and it'll create it. And I
And
can
that's what I
help
went
them,
that's what I went school for, and now everybody can do it. You don't
right?
need to study for
And
that.
it's just the beginning because I'm watching it. This thing just came out last week, and I'm watching all these people do it on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I'm like, imagine when it gets to the point where it's just like it's never gonna be perfect, but where you're like, holy crap,
Well, that's a scary thought.
yeah,
And that's why we need good hard people in
yes,
AI,
yes, we do.
because it can get out of hand.
Oh yeah,
And
Terminator time. Ah, hey,
yeah,
good notes.
my son is such a good-hearted kid. I'm so proud. I raised wonderful kids. He studied chemical engineering, and I was like, honey, you need to since you're an engineer, get on board with AI. Those are the great jobs as soon as you graduate. He was like, nope. Why? They're going to take away the jobs of the poor people, mommy. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be part of it.
But you can change it.
And that's what I said. But I was like, I'm so proud, and said, and that's exactly why we need you there,
Mm-hmm.
because you have your heart in the right place,
Mm-hmm.
and you will not let that happen. And
No,
that's why you need to be part of AI.
it's like me. Like now that I use all this AI technology for to help me do all this stuff, in my mentality is like, yes, I want to create my own team, and I'm still gonna hire because I know that I want them to know that AI is there, but I want them to have a job, to be like,
Yeah.
you're taking care of it. This is what your position is. Now you can work yourself with ChatGPT. I don't have to do it anymore. I'm still gonna pay you. Instead of me like, oh no, I'm just gonna use ChatGPT, pay for it, and he can do it. But I
Yeah, but
want a
still,
human
you
in
want
there.
a human doing it. Let me tell you, as a realtor, when I have to describe property, sometimes my brain is like fried. So I just go in ChatGPT and say, well, I need to describe that, and you have this. Wow, and then just. But I don't hire anybody to do it. This is something I do. It just made my job easier,
Mm.
and it's an incredible tool.
Yeah, it is, man, and it's growing and it's getting
Yeah.
better. I got one more question because like we got somebody else that's gonna sit here.
Okay.
I want you to this one. I want you to say it in Spanish and in
Okay.
English.
Tell me.
So, the government shutdown. Um, a lot of same thing. A lot of from the left to the right. Can you explain to them why was the shutdown? Why is it taking a long time? And why not to have the fear of like, yeah, it's a shutdown, but you still gotta live your life. You still gotta push through. There,
Well, you know how many times the government have been shut down in
I,
history? What happened? People don't know. And under the Democrats, many times. But of course, if it is, then it doesn't get publicized because we know they have control over the media. Now, the reality of this shutdown is the Democrats wanted, the big, beautiful bill cut down a lot of expenses that were not supposed to be there. Like I was telling you, cut down on Medicaid for illegal immigrants and people that don't apply to be there, or was paying Social Security to people that were not supposed to be there, whether it's illegal immigrants or people that were already dead. And obviously, somebody was cashing that check. So, those cuts are necessary because we cannot keep spending at the pace we're spending. We're spending more than what is coming in. We have, last time I checked, $37 trillion in debt. That's a reality. So, the big beautiful bill cut down on all of that, but the Democrats in want to still have this money to give to the legal immigrants and the people that don't apply. So in this government dot, they wanted to add 1.3 trillion
damn.
in healthcare for the legal immigrants.
Mm.
That's the reality. And the Republicans and the president were like, no, we need to cut down on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's shut down. It's about 1.3 trillion in healthcare for the legal immigrants.
You're adding up more debt in it.
And so at what time, that should have never happened. Because when I came here, I have to prove that I was never going to be a burden for this country, that I was going to give and be part of this country, but not taking. And suddenly, under the Biden administration, they became like the common thing, and we don't have enough money to, like I said, we are in debt.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about. And when it's going to happen, that probably will be positive, is bureaucracy have grown too much. When you count how many employees the federal government have, it's ridiculous. It's not necessary.
No.
So probably as a result of this, a lot of jobs that are not necessary, that are paid with our taxpayer money, will go away. And then these people will have to reinvent themselves and really work, because many of them are at home, not working, but getting a paycheck.
That's sad.
It's true.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see that. Like where I live around, I'm like, I come back because I live in an apartment right now, and I'm like, I get home and I'm like, doesn't the people work? Like, I see the cars every day. I was like,
No.
like, what the hell? I mean, I love what I do, but I'm like, shit, man. Like, don't you?
Have you tried lately after COVID to renew a passport? I remember it used to be like this, to renew a passport. No problem, fast, easy. If you want it from one day to the other, you could do it.
That's true.
Nowadays, it takes months. You know why? Because the federal employees never went back to their offices after COVID.
Huh.
And that is the thermometer. So if that's happening with renewing a passport, imagine all the other federal
Damn.
offices.
And it's happening because right now, when you mentioned passport, my two brothers trying to get the passport, one, they send it. They didn't even send it to the right address. They send it somewhere else.
Oh, it's a mess, because imagine they're not working.
And the other brother is doing it again. And now it took 3 months. And where is it? And it's just like nuts.
One of the things that I admire when I first came to this country in 1988, because I was coming for a country that was, at that time, exactly where we are right now. That's what I tell people. I say, when I left, when I was 23 years old, Venezuela was exactly where we are right now in the United States. The bureaucracy, the abuse of, trying to take our rights. And I remember coming, and first it was freedom of speech, because I already was working in television. And I remember so many times that something was happening. Said, don't talk about that today. And we're like, how come? So that was, but what it was more impressive for me was that I was able to make a call to any federal office, because I was trying to get a working permit, all of those things, and things got done. And call the cable company. Yep. And things got done.
Fast.
And fast. Nowadays, try to do something. It goes from you never get somebody with a pulse.
And it's not even here. They're like from other country.
Yeah, no, first of all, a machine, like I said, you don't get somebody with a pulse. and then finally, if you get somebody, they are not here. And then it's all this bureaucracy and paperwork that things don't get done. And what happened is, and since they're not getting those, no, we need to hire more people. And now we need to hire more people. And people are not realizing that we are in this trap that is about spending our money and doing nothing for the people.
Yeah. And you see it here in Houston. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. I mean, I know they're working on the damn freeway right here. Never done. It's never done.
Well, my slogan, Houston, we have a problem. The roads are destroyed. And the holes get bigger.
Yeah.
And we're always under construction.
Always.
And when it rains, it floods. And we all drive SUVs. And it's not fashion, people. It's a necessity.
Yeah, there's a video that when I looked at, you talked about that. What? Not COVID. What was that? The one we got flooded on 2017. Harvey. Yes.
Yeah.
And look at that. It rains now for maybe 30 minutes. It was damn flooded.
And every time it's getting worse and worse. And let me tell you what's the worst thing. There was $40 billion of federal money allocated to this city and this county. Where is the money?
That I knew. I'm still asking that question.
Okay, now it only takes $1.5 billion to complete the budget to solve the drainage problem. So that if we find where the $40 billion are, only 1.5, and we solve that. Imagine what else can we solve in this city with the rest of that money.
A lot, man.
A lot.
We
And
can.
many of my contenders are fighting for this seat to keep the cover up.
Hmm,
That's the reality.
that's true. But let's take a shot before we switch. Mr.
Okay.
Aaron is gonna
Yeah.
have so. I know I want to have
Okay.
you back because I know I definitely want to talk more about the Jeffrey Steens and Puff Daddy and all of that stuff. I want to get deep in that stuff. I love conspiracy stuff, but
Oh,
it's
well.
not really
But
truly
there are no
conspiracy. No,
conspiracy.
I know,
It's
because
like,
where's the list?
what's the difference between conspiracy
I'm
and
like,
reality?
and
6
myself is like,
months.
where's the list? I'm like, like you said, the government does, they work for us. I'm like, I want to know. I mean, I want to know all of this stuff, but that I was a backup, a backup, a back. They always have an ace on the back, so you don't, you forget it.
And they keep you blind, and this is, top secret. The people should not know. I said, what do you mean the people? We pay you.
Yeah,
We should know.
and then we need a reset. To me, I know we need a reset. I mean,
Yes.
everybody is the same. I mean, it's bloodlines. If you really look deep into the presidency and the government, all of the people that work in there, it's the bloodlines. It's bloodlines from
It's
back.
bloodlines, and like, for example, many people have, when I said, we're doing bad. This
Hmm.
country is in a bad road. And say, oh well, but you now have the president you want to have, and you have the majority in Congress, and they tell me because I'm a Republican,
Yeah.
and you have the majority in the Senate. And I said, do you understand that that's not enough because all the institutions are completely infiltrated by the left?
Hmm.
And you know how difficult it's just for one president to just completely
You can't.
clean that up? It's not overnight. It takes not only the president, the Senate, and Congress. It takes to get more people like me elected. It gets to have a tough hand, and then they criticize Trump to fire off the people, and hire new people, and education. To get rightly educate the people into definitely ideologies and to be efficient in their work, because we are efficient in our small business.
Yep.
Why they're not efficient working for the government? They don't
That's true.
care. They just
They
want
don't.
to get the paycheck and
That's
go
it.
home and do nothing.
That's it. Before we take the shot, I mean, I even ask myself right now. I don't see who will be running for president after Trump. Like I do look at the Bible and how everything happening right now at this moment,
Yeah.
and I like the left doesn't have nobody, the
Oh,
right it's only Trump, and I was like, there's always the third term talking about, and I'm like, this goes back to the Bible. It's like, oh well, somebody comes. I mean, there's a lot of changes that it can happen at that
there's so
time.
many things that can happen because, you know, um, they can prove there was fraud. And I say they can prove because there was fraud in 2020
Oh yeah,
elections. And I don't know the full legality, but apparently, if that's proven, then that's how Trump can possibly, because they stole the elections from him
yeah,
completely, and then actually everything that happened during the 4 years would be illegal.
that's
Everything,
everything. Yeah,
which even even that pen
yeah,
is
I know.
already illegal. But
Maybe we should put Trump's son. He's quiet, but I always see Trump's son, and I'm like, he's so quiet. He has a mind of his own because he's young, and I'm like, we're still young, and like maybe he'll turn
well, it'll be
around.
too young to be president in 2028. I'm hoping that JD Vance is not going to
Yeah,
be a sellout, that he's solid as so far he looks he is,
yeah,
and we can have 8 years with him.
yeah.
And then after that we'll see. But I see, even though the new generation, that they're being brainwashed in college and everything, but they're so tired of this.
Yeah,
They're so tired that probably we will see the most conservative generation coming in the future because they don't like what's happening.
no,
Even though they have learned to put up with all this transgender thing and everything, they don't like it. I hear the kids. I have three, and they're like kind of fed up, and they try to ignore the thing, but they can. It gets to a point that they cannot completely ignore it.
no. That's true. Because I've done a lot of work for middle schools for kids, even middle. I like working with middle schools. These kids are very smart, man. I done work with high schoolers, but nah, those are they're on a different thing. They just I mean, they're high school.
Already.
We went through it. But the middle school kids and the middle school
Yeah.
girls, when I sit down with them, their mentality's out there. I'm like, that's that generation that I'm like, I'm hoping that I
And-
can do more for them, and not only me because I'm just one, but any
Right.
more people can do that because I learned so much from them, from the bad, the worst, and things that are happening on their home, and they will tell me like, I want to do this, and this is going on. I'm watching my parents fight and divorce, and
Yeah.
but they tell,
Yeah.
and mostly the girls because I have a girl, so they trust me.
We talk too much.
So I'm like, damn, but I love it. I love it. I mean, I know you gotta see another side of right now with.
But let me
Aaron.
tell you, we need to teach kids to always question things.
Always, yeah. I tell my dad.
Always. I said, do not accept. Well, this is because no. Why?
No, why? Yeah.
And I read this that I think it was so enlightening. What it says is not the answers that teach you, is the questions that teach you.
I like
So
that.
always ask questions.
I always ask questions. Let's take that shot so Mr. Aaron can come over.
Okay.
And
So I have to take a shot?
well, you don't have to.
Oh, no,
but
yes.
You open
So,
it up, and I got the shot.
So I'm going to open the tequila.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward
And
to
then
try
you
this
gotta
tequila.
tell how
They told me this is a fantastic tequila.
it is.
And so I'm looking forward to try it on. Blueberry Blanco.
Yes. Premium.
Blanco.
And it's really good.
So, as you know, yo hablo español
Sí.
porque fue mi primera lengua. Hay uno de mis oponentes que se para a hablar español como que yo le digo, bueno, good for you. This is yours.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
Hey,
I said,
look, you got a little red cup too.
red.
I actually intended that. I went
Red
to-
is
I
the color.
went to
Ooh,
my-
I oversold
They had
this,
red and
but-
blue. I was like, no, man.
No, red. That's something we need to talk
and
about,
no,
the colors.
And that's my favorite color too. That's why. I
Well,
put
you know,
red in it.
red is so beautiful, but we need to talk about the importance of the colors and how
Oh,
they
yeah.
have deceived people by switching the colors because, you know, we were blue, not red.
Oh,
and red is
whoa.
the color
See,
of
now
communism.
You gotta talk about that. 'Cause I didn't know about that.
Cheers.
Salud.
Déjame probar esto.
Saludcita for you guys.
Salud. Déjame probar porque dicen que está muy bueno. It is good.
We don't gotta lie. It sells itself.
It's very good.
Mm.
Well, I'm not going to take a shot because I'll overserve and
No, you're good.
no. No, because I have to talk, so I need to.
You know. Whoa.
Mm. It is good.
It's mood.
It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's very good.
Shout out to Blueberries account. Come on, Mr. Aaron. It's your turn.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate it. Oh, let me get the phone.
So now I get Aaron.
Somewhere. Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Heat it
right
up.
there. It's like,
There you go.
so I share it. So I'm
We're still
okay.
live. We're still
We're
rolling.
still
We
live,
don't,
yeah,
we don't stop.
Just,
Is this
I
your
don't know if I
water?
disconnected.
Nope. Nope. I don't have water.
Let me go get you one.
All right. Hello, Houston. How's it going? Happy Saturday. It's the weekend.
Beautiful
And
day.
Beautiful day out there. Finally, all the heat gone, and Houston's full of heat all the time. So it's nice to have a reprieve here finally in the early fall. And thank you for joining us, Carmen.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you on our show. And we're gonna start funneling in on Houston local here, if we don't
Yes.
mind, on the politics a little
Yes.
bit, and have some questions that I'm sure all the viewers out there are going to want to know about you and your policies as well. You know, here we are not extremists, we are realists, and a lot of times a lot of people tend to get that mixed up a lot, you know, and telling
Yeah.
the truth about something, and all of a sudden you're on one side far to the right. And it doesn't seem like it makes sense to the people who really aren't that way. They're more in the middle. And I find that we're going to focus really heavily on the entrepreneurial side of Houston here and the workforce and what it means for your position in the 18th district to be running like this. And historically, you know, we all know we had Sheila Jackson Lee there for a very long time in this position. And this is a special election, just so you guys know, in case y'all are wondering why it's not on their normal timeline and why we're having I mean, it's just a strange time to have an election, but it's very important, and we don't have much time is what I'm hearing. And it's a very strong uphill battle.
Well, you know, is in 23 days, November 4th, there is no primaries, so it's called a jungle race. all candidates are going to be in the ballot, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, all of us. So it's 16 candidates. And I'm consistently second in the polls out of those 16.
That's great.
But I believe it have, gerrymandering.
Yes.
And I'm completely against gerrymandering. This
horrible.
came back in the 60s, the Voting Rights Act. And that's when, that's when people realize how we've been losing democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Because deciding on districts by gerrymandering, when basically what they did was we have basically half and half Democrat districts and Republican districts. That's why we never have a solid majority in Congress. Senate, we'll have 2 per state. But since basically the whole thing is split, basically half and half. Okay, this district we're going to make it Democrat. This district we're going to make it Republican. This district we're going to make it for the Blacks Democrats. This district we're going to make it for the Latino conservative. So that's how it's done. And this district was created specifically for that purpose. The last Republican that was sitting in this seat was back in the 50s.
Wow. Yeah.
And then, but in the latest years, there's been a lot of election fraud in this district. Well, in the whole city of Houston and Harris County.
It happens everywhere, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, but people don't know how corrupt Harris County is.
Well,
Harris County is one of the most corrupt counties.
I kind of do for the ones that know me out there, but whatever.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So election fraud, when I first ran the first time in 2018, I remember when I ran for, like I said, for a purpose. I started seeing things were bad. I proved they were so bad, in the judicial system. And then when I started running, I remember I had a meeting. They started telling me about election fraud. And I was like, what? And I come from Venezuela where they created the Smartmatics, which is the software inside the machines. And it's the Smartmatics inside there. And then, but I was like, let me save United States before it goes that bad.
Mm.
And then when they start talking to me about fraud, and I was like, what? You mean to tell me? And they say, yeah, the dead people vote. And that was dead people vote. And there is like 50 people in the same address voting. And, the ballot by mail, I think, is the worst. So in this country, there is many ways to cheat, more than just the machine, because they have the ballot by mail and then the machine. And I prove it. I have a file this thick from my last election, 2022, of everything we saw on the ground that went on. But remember, they took away the power to the state attorney to prosecute election fraud and give it to the local district attorneys. And they're all Democrats. So they were not going to fight this. So we turned in that file to the district attorney, to Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton doesn't have. They gave it back to him now, but this was for 2022. And I was in shock. And it has gotten just worse and worse.
I mean, you're looking at the district and how it's drawn out, and it looks like a nightmare of a puzzle piece. I mean, it looks as crooked as the politicians that made it. And
and how do you represent everybody?
How can you? And, it's here we talk about common sense all the time. So, again, It is like a common sense thing. You look at it and go, why? I mean, the way it looks, it just doesn't make any sense except for the people who are just trying to get elected. And so I don't understand how that is democracy.
Well, Sheila didn't like it after it was redrawn after 2020 because it became 45% Latino. 20% of the new area belonged to District 2, which is a Republican. And so the first year under that new map was 2022 when I ran against her. And she was scared to death. And I know she cheated because at 5 p.m. on election day, in one of the churches on the east side, at 5, not 7, at 5, some women came out and said she won, celebrated that she won. How did they know that? You understand? And and my team and I would still say that I won that election because Latinos are conservative. And common sense, like you said.
Common sense.
It doesn't matter what color of your skin is. What it matters is people still are getting poor. The opportunities are gone. Our children are being brainwashed and distorted completely in schools. And we need to get back to common sense. So
and it seems like common sense is not prevailing as it should in normal cases, because we're all seeing it. We're seeing what's happening here. I have a lot of friends in the social media world and other media platforms. And, this is thrown on my plate on Monday, and here we are talking on Saturday. So, it's one of those things where I reached out to a few people. I'm not going to say names, but, it's and a lot of responses were they didn't just want to touch it because they asked one question: is she black? That's where a lot of that was the primary question, and because that seems to be the standard of who's going to get elected next. And I really think this is a time of people waking up. And I know they use the word woke already, but let's redefine that if we could, please, because the real wake is knowing that the deceiving that has been happening and the gerrymandering of the districts. And I think this is a perfect time for someone like you to come in.
Why have to be about colors? Like I said, 45% of the population in this district are Latinos.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a district here, District 38, that the majority of the population are white, then Latinos, then black. And a black representative, Republican, was elected. So obviously, it's not about the color of the person, but the right representative.
Absolutely.
And so far, the people that have been represented, the people in this district have not done a good job. So that's what I said. The definition of insanity is to keep on doing the same thing and expect a different result.
Ain't that true?
So, and the other thing is they want about Latinos. So they look at me and they were like, they have a hard time believing I'm Latina. And what happened is, and especially Yolanda Jones, many of them stopped doing, but Yolanda Jones keeps on doing it, say the brown people, because they want to make this about race. So they want to put Latinos in a brown box.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I said this many times, and that's why all the others stop. I said, whenever you talk referring about us Latinos as brown, you are discriminating against over 85% of us, because we Latinos were not another race, we're another culture made out many different colors, white, black, yellow, copper. We come in many different colors. So you cannot put us in a brown box. I find that racist and insulting.
Absolutely. I would find that it is the fact that we're making decisions based on the color of skin just sounds obvious, and that is ridiculous, and common sense should prevail. But yet here we live. And I think that tide has turned a little bit, in my opinion, recently, and especially after Charlie Kirk's death. I've noticed a lot of responses and how the Democrats, generally speaking, have just really, their response says a lot, and I don't really understand that response. I don't really relate to it, and it's opened up a Pandora's box of information where I don't think they can close the lid now. And I feel there's a movement here, and that was one of the things where I feel a little different than my friends out there that says she doesn't have a chance. Carmen doesn't have a chance to win, because I'm sitting there going, well, if there's ever a chance, I think now is the chance.
Now is the chance, because I think everything is upside down. I think the people is ready for a change. Have you seen the last election for Donald Trump? Black men voted for Donald Trump. A lot of them. The Latinos are voting Republican. Mm-hmm. And that's when we talk about the colors.
Let's do that, please.
So when I first came to the United States and realized Latinos were voting for the Democrats, I was like, why? Because I know the Republican Party. We're the party that wants a small government. We're conservative. We want to preserve the Constitution. We're the party that freed the slave. Mm-hmm. Remember, the whole North and South war was not about North and South. It was about Republicans wanting to free the slave, and the Democrats didn't. And that was the whole war. And then we won. The Republicans won. And we gave freedom to the slave. And what happened? They killed Abraham Lincoln.
Yep.
Who killed it? A Democrat. And then the Democrats created the Ku Klux Klan. The Democrats created segregation. And then when women wanted to get the right to vote, the Republicans were supporting the women to get the right to vote, but the Democrats didn't want to give us that right. And it took us 100 years and 100 years of torture. Torture. Women were tortured. And that's why I'm a Republican. So when I came to this country, I said, well, I always know the Republican Party is the party of human rights. It's the party of freedom and small government. And it's the party of faith. It's the party of family.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why are Latinos voting for the Democrats? Well, the first thing is the color red. It is a known fact worldwide that the color red is the color of communism.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not the color of the Republican Party. It was swapped by the media in 1984, second election of President Ronald Reagan.
That's right.
And I was in the U.S. Embassy in Venezuela watching, the watch party. And, I always, I knew I was a Republican. Especially I love Reagan. He was the greatest communicator.
I think he was one of the best presidents that ever lived.
He was. And he had fantastic communications. For me, being a broadcaster, communication is very important. Yes. And I was standing there and looking at the screens and seeing that map going red because he won in an incredible way that year. So the map was red, and I was like, how did he lose? How did we lose? Because I thought I was losing that day. And then they put his picture, Ronald Reagan won again. I said, why is it red? And what happened is the media swapped the colors, and the Republicans did not complain. The Republicans should have been up in arms the next day saying, hold on a second, that is not our color. Do not do it again. And what happened is when the immigrants, not only Latinos, every immigrant, the Asian, come to this country and they see the party of red, what do they think? They think we are the communists. And then that's symbols. Then I call semantics. So mistakenly, people think that democracy is the way to go. All democracy end up destroyed. That's a reality. We are a constitutional republic.
Yep.
That elect people in a democratic way, but we are constitutional, the republic.
Thank you for clarifying.
And so people come here and say, we want democracy. So they think that Democrats with the color blue are the way to go. But it have taken for especially the Latino community, seeing that the American dream they came here looking for is disappearing because they need 2 or 3 jobs. And when they start messing up with our children, that was it. You don't mess up with our kids.
I agree. Yes, and I see a trend here. It seems that there's a majority of us tend to have common sense. I would say that's why I call it common sense, and when it's almost as if a narrative is forced down from a smaller group, and then we're kind of, I would say, influenced, but more than that, more I guess really advised or convinced that maybe we're not thinking right because we don't allow the small group to really take a hold on a certain part of society, and that we slowly, just like the frog in the pot you were talking earlier, slowly get used to this ideals and we tolerate it. But that toleration can go only so far before it cracks open and it takes a catalyst sometimes. I mean, in this case, I was mentioning earlier Charlie Kirk being a catalyst maybe. Yeah. And that's a good thing because it almost woke us up to say, for a long time, I was accepting little bits of these little pieces of what everyone thinks society should be. And then over time, I start going, it doesn't feel right. I should question it, but I would be outcast by voicing my opinion.
Yeah.
And it seems now it's just a falling house of cards now where people are starting to vocalize and they're not afraid to give their opinion anymore. And I think they shouldn't. And the fear
I do. Come on, I go to them. Yes. I get inside the ringers.
Oh, of course you do. You're right there. You're fighting for us really heavily. And your background is what really attracted me to this podcast show anyway. Being Houston local and really we're talking to a lot of the entrepreneurs out there with small businesses that are just trying to make sense of the nonsense that we've been involved with and trying to shed off all those things that have been put on us for so long and saying that we've been wrong for thinking a certain way and made us feel bad for
we've been
for bringing the honesty and
too tolerant.
Absolutely.
And we've been too tolerant because, especially Republicans, since we respect everybody's feelings and way of thinking, we're like, okay, if you think like that, we're not. And what happened is, since that's our nature, like we respect, o sea, this is how I think, and we respect how you think.
Yes, we respect.
And we have allowed for them to take over a space and take a little bit more of our space and take until right now we're really in a small corner. And I think that's what's pushing people to now say, no, now we need to push back.
So what do you say to all the entrepreneurs out there? Because you're very entrepreneurial spirited and minded, and from your background starting in Venezuela at 19, if I recall,
yes,
as a beauty pageant and winning Miss Venezuela,
yes,
and carrying that out even on to second runner-up in that Miss Universe, I believe. And then you went into real estate and anchor woman and now politics. You know, I'm not a politician at all, and you know, it's really the business side and the entrepreneurial side that got me involved in politics. And when I heard about you, that's what attracted me to your ideals. What would you say to the people out there in Houston who are small business owners and especially living inside that gerrymandered, you know, district?
Yeah.
That they would want to hear from you, and so they can get out there to vote and get you there so you can make a difference here in Houston.
Well, you see that map is so diverse. We have from the multi-million-dollar home to the poorest of the poor. You know, Houston just became the city with the most poor population in the nation. And
I did not know that until you told me. That's crazy.
That data just came out a few weeks ago. And I know that I have that the east side, especially of my district, have that component. So here you need to earn the vote from the poorest of the poor to the people that have multi-million-dollar home, they're entrepreneurs. And of course you need to, you know, this district has something that was created by President Donald Trump in his first tenure, that is opportunity zones. And opportunity zones are there to give tax benefits to investors. And what happened is my predecessors, they didn't want to touch that because it would be like giving few stars of great thumbs up to Donald Trump. They didn't never use it. And that's my plan, to use the opportunity zones to attract investors. Because what happens if we attract investors, then we bring jobs. Absolutely, and if we bring jobs, we create the necessity for housing, so new housing. And if we have housing, then we're paying more property taxes, and then we improve education. So see all that you do just by taking opportunity zones, and especially the east side, that we are also close to the industrial area. So we bring people that, you know, invest to have that jobs that will elevate the life of those people. And then, you know, we need to give tax incentive to small business owners.
This sounds like common sense, doesn't it?
That sounds like common sense. But you know, the left, which is the Democrats, they're like, we need to tax people more. And what you're doing is asphyxiating the people, and that doesn't help the economy. Because if we have paid less taxes, we have more money to invest in our business, and then we have more money so we can hire more people, we're helping the economy. And as we help the economy, everybody's benefiting, you know, getting a benefit from it. But their mentality is, no, let's have people starving, no small business people, and live from welfare. Well, the problem with that type of government is being proved that even in the sand, in the desert, the communists run out of sand. Because eventually you're going to run out of it.
That's exactly right. And for all of you entrepreneurs listening right now to the show, I mean, we're live. So if you can text in or comment, and maybe we can have Jesus look at that. I got y'all. Some of y'all know my phone number, and I see y'all texting me. And maybe I'll have some questions for Carmen we're going to get to here. I just want to get ahead of that so we have some time to think of your questions and get it out to us.
We probably have about 5 or 10.
Okay.
Because it got overheated. I can see it got overheated, and I don't want it to.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Somebody put the air up.
Well, let me.
Hot, so.
You know, just a couple comments that I see come in. It says,
Okay.
you know, all young people think socialism is good. They have no idea and are being deceived. You know, that's
You know why young people think socialism is good? Because they stopped teaching in school what socialism and communism is. And once people don't know what it is, then they think they have romanticized socialism.
right.
And socialism for me, like I say, is the door to communism. So that's why we need to teach what socialism is. We need to teach. The other thing we're teaching, oh no, the devil doesn't exist. It does exist. We need to teach. All those things need to be taught so the people knows about it. Because if the devil doesn't exist, so what end up happening? The people think that doing wrong is okay.
Right.
And it's not okay. We need to teach the good and evil and understand that the way to go is godly, and temor de Dios. I always said that word cannot be translated perfectly in English, but it's the best way to describe how we Christians need to behave with temor de Dios.
Well, today's Saturday, and I believe October 16th is a Tuesday, and there's a debate going on that you're a part of. Is that correct?
Yes, there is many debates coming up. So yes, follow me and you'll see the schedule. We publicize it and put it there. There is one that TSU, I believe that you guys are
TSU,
going.
yes, Texas State University.
And I just had 2 today. And that's the regular thing that is happening from here until election.
So yeah, and it looks like you.
Sorry for cut you off. What is the best way to donate or sponsor Carmen, as a business owner? To bring for your campaign.
For the campaign, go to Carmen4Congress.com. Carmen4Congress.com.
That's just for, in case you didn't hear the question, that was for contributing to the campaign. Can you say it one more time?
Yes, Carmen4Congress.com. You can go, that's my website. You can go there, donate, volunteer. You learn more about my platform. The 3 bills I have ready to introduce. As soon as I get to Congress, I have bills ready to do. One is to audit the city and the county about those $40 billion.
Please.
And so go there and check me. And it doesn't matter how much you donate, but every dollar counts. Every dollar counts, please. Yes.
I'm going to put it in it right now. So
yes.
I know she already did it, but I'm putting it so people can know.
Yes.
And I know we're getting a group of people up in the North District area of Houston, previously known as Greenspoint. We're going to be helping push this along as well as it gets closer to Election Day and on Election Day. I hope you guys make it out to your prospective places to make that vote happen.
And let me add something. There is 17 constitutional amendments in the ballot for my election that are all good for us. Less
that
property.
Are no good?
All good.
All
so I'm
good.
saying vote yes to each one. Is parental rights. Reassures that we parents are the one who have the right over our children's, to decide over them. Less property taxes. They're taking the inheritance tax. And, of course, the Democrats don't like that. But how is it, that you pay tax all your life and then you die and you have to pay your children have to pay taxes again? Or you buy your home and you end up losing your house because many people, it gets to the point they cannot pay property taxes. So your house is never your house.
That's right.
But when you pay less taxes, you put that into the system and economies automatically improve.
The trickle-down effect. And that has been proven. And I'm going to say, how much time do we have left? About 5 more minutes. I mean, I'm just going to say it like this. Houston, get out there. This is your chance. This is a very unique opportunity that we haven't had in a very long time. There's one of the reasons why we're pushing this very heavily is because of the uniqueness of this timing with Carmen. And I want to thank Carmen Maria Montiel for coming here. And also Vive Realty for having us here as well. It's a great place they have here. And of course, Blue Barrel Tequila for sponsoring the show.
It's very good.
I haven't taken my shot yet because I don't have a shot glass.
Take a shot. I didn't take the shot, so I can cheers with you and take another sip because it's very good.
I'm going to take some right here with you so you don't feel alone. And I know this is good.
Cheers.
I know because I know.
Cheers for victory on November 4th.
Absolutely. Let's get it going, Houston. Let's do this.
Let me just finish with the last
Okay.
with you, and that's it.
Thank you. Okay, here comes Jesus. Otra vez Jesús. You know what, Jesús? Let's send a message in Spanish.
Okay.
Vamos a hablar en español porque recuérdate, 45% somos hispanos en el distrito. Y es la oportunidad de elegir a un representante que lo entienda, no solamente el español, sino nuestras necesidades, que entienda por lo que hemos pasado como inmigrantes y que haya una representación latina para todos en el Congreso de los Estados Unidos.
Muchas. Y le doy muchas gracias que estuvo hoy aquí con nosotros. Y ahorita que estaba yo ahí sentado, chequé todos los comentarios y ya puse la website para los que quieran hacer un donation para la campaign.
Y voluntarios, necesitamos
Y
voluntarios también.
voluntarios, ayuda, todo, ahí está. Y cualquier pregunta que necesiten, ahorita está todo share. People are been sharing it. So, muchas
Perfect.
gracias por todos los que están haciendo el share. Y y síganos, porque este es uno de más que vamos a hacer. Este es el empiezo nomás. Y ya sé que noviembre 4 gana, lo vamos a tener acá, celebrando con el tequila. Popping fireworks aquí dentro. We're gonna celebrate. I just
We're
telling
going
you
to
that.
celebrate.
We're gonna
It's a
celebrate.
turning point that is needed,
Yeah.
and people will see the difference.
Yep. And it's God's timing, like we said.
And it's got timing, and I feel it, and and it's all of you coming together. It's been the
Es muy
work
bonito.
of the Lord. Yeah,
Cuando uno
ha
lo
sido el trabajo de Dios.
siente,
Sí.
es como siempre digo a los clientes que tengo, luego, cuando no pasa en este momento, es porque Dios no quiere. No
Sí.
importa si nos toma 3 meses porque tú estás ocupado, pero cuando nos sentemos en ese momento es porque tenía que pasar.
Así mismo es.
You rush it, it's gonna. But if you let the waters of God guide you, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be that right time that it needs to be done. So, I mean, thank you again for being here, and
No.
we're definitely gonna have you here again,
Thank you for having me.
multiple
Gracias por
times.
tenerme aquí con ustedes.
and we're definitely gonna go up there to the debate over there at Texas Southern University. So I'll post it in there as well, and I'll post the flyer. So if you have time that day, you can show. Can people can show up?
Yes, show
Okay.
up and follow me in Instagram
Yes.
and
Todo. Carmen Maria Montiel.
Carmen for Congress.
Okay.
Todos son
Todos.
Carmen for Congress. X number 4 with the number 4. Carmen number 4 Congress. X, Instagram, Facebook, follow me, and we post there every event that is coming up all the time, and we announce it, like even today we announce it. So, and that way well, she has this debate, that debate. So follow us, and you'll see where I'm gonna be, and you get also to know the contenders.
Awesome. Yes, and thank you again, because I saw that we're supporting the show as well. I saw we're donating stars and stuff. So I'm on the works. I'm creating like a little subscription so I can actually get the show even bigger and have her again while she wins. Multiple other people that I can have here. Who knows? Maybe I have Trump here. Dana White, we talked about that. So I really loved UFC. So that's something.
Yeah.
I got connections in there as well. So who knows? Here in the near future, we'll have them too. It's never giving up. It's always like focusing and calling it to existence. And it will happen.
And giving the people, like you said, like Trump, that myself, that then why, to explain and tell truth. Because like I said, people are being lied to. And they even, print pamphlets with their lives. And it breaks my heart that then with this life, people go to vote and they stay as they are. Like, I don't know if I already said it, but what Chavez used to say, we need to keep people poor with hope. So they keep voting for us. And that's exactly what the Democrats are doing. So we need to stop that. And instead of that, we need to give incentive to people, to, motivate people to be better. And one of my things is to bring back trade education in high school, because I think it's very important, especially, in the East Side, and also have trade education for adults. We have many empty buildings and warehouses in the east side of the district that can be refurbished and house all the homeless.
You're
and
right.
then have adult trade education so they can get back into the workforce. So, I have plans, medical service that are already federal programs that we can have to provide for the people that have hard time accessing healthcare. And they're already there, but they are not being used. So many things that are not used that it'll benefit the district, the people, and everybody. And remember, when you see this map, follow me and see the map, this district really encompasses the whole city. So it doesn't matter if you live or not in the district. To vote, you need to live in the district. But you will get the benefits of me as being your representative.
To finish up, I want you to finish up. Last words, something motivational, inspirational that you want to tell. And this one, say it in English and then finish it in Spanish. something motivational, inspiration that you want to tell the audience out there that comes from your to the entrepreneurs, business owners, other people that like myself that I know that they're starting their own live streaming show or podcast. Don't give up, man. Don't give up on your dreams.
No.
Keep on moving forward. I never give up on mine. Look where I'm at right now. It took time, but I mean,
Effort,
and effort,
sacrifices.
sacrifices, yeah, and being at the bottom and still like listening to people like just, hey, go get three this and that, and I'm like, nope, no, I'm focused. I'm gonna go get it, and that's where I'm at right now. But you finishing up with that?
Well, I want to tell people just be resilient. I always say when people ask me what's the best word that describes me, resilience. It doesn't matter what happened, I keep on going. I keep on fighting. I keep on moving. I never take no for an answer. For me, no is let me find the way or let me find another way. And that's how I be when I'm your representative. I will be resilient to improve your life, to fight to find that money that is lost, that is there to serve the people of Houston and Harris County. And I believe in empowering people. We need to empower people to be better. And that comes with better education, with after school programs. Because if our kids are busy, they're not thinking about joining crime or doing drugs and destroy their life. And we need to invest in our youth. We need to invest in our children. And the money is there. Somebody has mismanaged it or misplaced it, but we're going to find it. So believe in you. I believe in cutting taxes to small businesses because that actually what the result is investing back into the community, investing back into the economy. It's not like, oh, we're going to save taxes and we're going to put it here on this corner. No, it grows the business. So believe in that. Don't think that is negative. And remember, I ask people, how has your life changed in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years, in the last 15 years? And think, who has been your representative? Who has been your mayor in the city? Who is the majority in city council? Who is the majority in commissioners' courts? And who are the majority of the representative in Congress within the city? And then that's your answer. And then, don't keep on voting the same. Voting for the same but a different person is not going to give you a different result. Just completely change. Take a risk. What do you have to lose? It just keeps on getting worse. So, if you make a change, at least the risk is it might get better. And that's the whole idea. So remember, November 4th, Carmen Maria Montiel, the only Latino name in the ballot. I'm the last name in the ballot. So vote for me. Now I'm going to go in Spanish. I said, si tengo que describirme, yo me describo como resiliente. Yo nunca tomo no como la última respuesta. Para mí no es la manera de renegociar o de encontrar otra forma. Y así quiero que todas las personas en mi distrito se vean, porque así yo voy a ser la representante que ustedes necesitan, pensando que no es la última palabra, que podemos encontrar la manera. Yo quiero reinvertir en nuestra educación, reinvertir en nuestros niños, que se traiga de nuevo lo que es inspirational, o sea, educación inspiracional en las escuelas de high school, que haya educación inspiracional para los adultos, sobre todo los homeless, para que puedan reencontrar o reubicarse otra vez en la fuerza trabajadora, programas después de la escuela para que los muchachos estén ocupados, porque el que está ocupado no está pendiente de meterse al crimen o de hacer drogas. No sigan haciendo lo mismo. Digo, seguir votando por la misma gente no va a ocasionar un resultado diferente. ¿Qué tienen que perder? Hagan algo totalmente diferente y lo único que tenemos que arreglar es que va a cambiar para mejor. Así que recuerden que el 4 de noviembre voten por mí, el único nombre de latino en esa boleta, Carmen María Montiel, y la última en esa fila de la boleta. 4 de noviembre, voten por mí.
Thank you. November 4, vote for Carmen Maria Montiel. And thank you guys for being here and watching the H-Town Unplugged. And man, I got no more words to say. You finished it good. So thank you and blessings.
Thank you.
And I'll see you in the next episode next Saturday at 4 p.m. Let's go.
Thank you very much.